we're back with more Expect the Unexpected by Artfulpix. And also, Current Pax is apparently helped them with the chapter as well. So, uh, and I believe they're also responsible for Hide's character. So, and I know they're also going to be help. They will end up helping a lot more in the future. So, be prepared for more of their names. So, yeah. Last time we left off, we went. It was just like a break between nights, and Ruby was really tired, and she finally got a bit of a break because she's been called in for like the day shift and now, but this time she wasn't. She got to like sleep finally. Um, and also at the restaurant there was a little. I don't know how to describe it, but Toy Bonnie decided to be very rude and bring up unpleasant memories for Bonnie. So he's gonna get in trouble and have his head bashed in with Betty probably, but he better be scared. So we're now on night 4 with the toys. So let's get right on into this. Oh, and if you want to follow along, chapter link will be in the description below as always. Night 4, take 2. I'm gonna kill that walking pile of scrap. Ruby snarled, pacing like a caged animal. She hadn't reacted well when she heard that Toy Bonnie had been messing with Bonnie during the day. I'm gonna tear him to pieces. Once, none of the others were trying to calm her down. They were all pretty mad as well. She stormed out of the room when it was close to 12, muttering angrily. They're all staying here tonight, right? Goldie asked, a little nervously. They all nodded in unison. What's got you all tied in a knot? He asked, as Ruby glared venomously at the wall. I hope you're really good at fixing things, Edie, because I'm tearing the rabbit's head off the shoulders tonight, she snapped. Edie paled. That didn't sound like an idle threat. The phone finally rang and focused Ruby's attention away from rampaging and talk of decapitation. Hello, hello. Hey there, night before. I thought you'd get the hang of it. Ruby couldn't help smiling at his usual expedient or expedient. I don't know what the word is, but yeah. Both girls also realized they still hadn't asked the other about Uncle Scott slash Steve. Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. My guard's attention focused entirely on the phone. We may end up having to close for a few days. I don't know. I want to emphasize though that it's really just a precaution. Bad Spirit Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. Of course they do, Ruby muttered, rolling her eyes. These things happen sometimes. Uh, it'll all get sorted out in a few days. Just keep an eye on things, and I'll keep you posted. Always positive, aren't you, Steve? Ruby sighed. Uh, just as a side note though, try to avoid eye contact with any of the animatronics tonight if you can. Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems. We're not sure. But the characters have been acting very unusual, almost aggressive towards the staff. They interact with kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare. She frowned in confusion and glanced over at Edie. Don't get any ideas. The mechanic glared. What do you take me for? Anyways, hang tight. It'll all pass. Good night. Thanks, Steve. Ruby stretched, attention shifting to teaching a very memorable lesson to a certain blue rabbit. Why do you call him Steve? Edie asked before she could leave. He didn't give a name. He sounded like a Steve. Ruby shrugged. Edie facepalmed. His name's Scott. He's my uncle. Ruby paused. Was she using the present tense? Then she didn't know. And whatever connections did she have to Freddy's? Ruby decided against saying anything just yet. She wasn't in any state of mind to be gentle about breaking news like that. Huh. Well, I have a rabbit's head to pull off. She waved as she left. Katie was seriously considering going out to check on them later. Then again, he could put ju- she could just put Toy Bonnie's head back on afterwards. It says he, but I'm guessing that means she. Barbies! Ruby yelled once out in the hallway. It's open season on rabbits tonight! She hefted her machine paintball gun and started down the hallway. She was gonna make his life a misery. An hour later, she had locked Toy Chica in the kitchen and Toy Freddy backstage. The puppet was duct taped in his box, so Ruby could focus completely on Toy Bonnie. And focus she did. By then, he was also no longer blue. He was rainbow colored. Just try and catch me, you bucket of bolts, she laughed, well ahead of the furious rabbit. This is what you get when you mess with my friends. As she turned the corner, though, she slammed into something and went down. Ow. Ruby propped herself up on her elbows and looked around. He did the same, and Ruby realized that she'd run right into the older girl and knocked her out of her wheelchair. I was right, he mumbled. Toy Bonnie stood a little distance away, unsure about what to do now since he had never been involved before. Shoot, sorry, Ruby apologized, surprising both the bot and mechanic. I'm so used to clanking robots that I didn't hear you. You okay? Nice to know there was a more caring persona under the sadistic one. Yeah, it happens more often than you think, Petey answered. The night guard looked like she wanted to help her back up into the chair, but her eyes kept darting to the robot. Continue with your weird bet game thing. Petey waved her hand, and Ruby took off again. Survival instincts were strong after all. Toy Bonnie stood around awkwardly. He wanted to chase after the night guard, but he was his friend. He glanced back at Edie, who had pulled her wheelchair over to her, and was expecting a rather bad dent in the left wheel. Darn, I can't risk sitting in it now, she muttered. She bit her lip, and Toy Bonnie shuffled from one foot to the other, torn between chasing the night guard and helping the mechanic. He looked over at her, and by the time 2 minutes had passed, was getting really annoyed. He was still looking between the hallway and her. Toby! She finally snapped, making him jump. If you don't stop glaring after her and help me up, I will reformat you into a toaster. He hurried over to her and picked her up carefully. Sorry, he mumbled. You're impossible, she grumbled, crossing her arms in annoyance. The trip was very uncomfortable for both of them, physically and mentally. For Edie, it was because she didn't enjoy the helpless feeling of needing someone to help her move around. Frankly, it was embarrassing, and she was far too old to be comfortable being carried by anyone, even though she knew Toy Bonnie wouldn't drop her. He wouldn't dare. She really could make him a toaster if she was willing to put the time and effort into the project. That might make work in the kitchen. Then they'd kick him out for his attitude. The carrying hurt too. Just a little. A fair amount of pressure was being put on the titanium rods in her spine due to the way Toy Bonnie had to hold her. He was programmed to be able to hold young children, including babies and toddlers. Not that many parents handed their babies off to any of the bots, but the usual way. For the ones old enough, that meant one arm around the back while balancing the kid on his hip, as the kid sometimes on his shoulder or gripped his neck. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't hold Hebe that way, since her adult body was simply too awkward for him to handle size-wise. So, in the end, he was stumbling slightly as he held her bridal style and carried her toward the main room. He felt his endoskeleton teeth grit as his joints strained against the weight. He wasn't supposed to carry this much. Not that Hebe really was heavy. She was actually very thin, but tall. Uh, and with other adults, like or really, he dragged them most of the time. Not that he could ever get away with doing that to Hebe. Besides, that one rather bad time at the warehouse that he tried not to think about. But she would probably shut him down and do something even worse than the crazy night guard would before she woke him up again. And the uncle would definitely rip him apart. Toy Bunny had a feeling that Toy Fox would murder him But he even looked at her best friend wrong now. Not that he wanted to, as quite literally the only adult that any of the toys could stand or even care about, he had certain privileges. Even Puppet did what she told him, even if she had to have a very good reason to convince him with. You could lay off the ice cream, he muttered without thinking. Ah, and salty hair was not one of those privileges he enjoyed. That's rich coming from someone who doesn't understand taste. He tried to cross her arms, but couldn't succeed without making the already top-heavy toy Bonnie lose his balance. He did sway as she swung her arm, and she suddenly held onto his neck for dear life. The toaster thing is still on the table if you drop me, she growled. And don't you dare complain. I know for a fact your gears can handle a lot more weight. Yeah, yeah, Toy Bonnie said as he rolled his green plastic eyes, though still a little sheepish from before. You're making me waste a lot of time. I should be chasing the night guard, said sadly. Not my fault. True, it's hers. Toy Bonnie glared at the wall as if he could set Ruby on fire with X-ray vision. No, it isn't, he said sternly. It's either everybody's or nobody's, and it's pointless to assign blame like that for something so little. Yes, Mom, he said obnoxiously. He rolled her own eyes and shifted in an attempt to keep the plastic suit piece from digging into her. True, the toys looked friendlier and more cartoonish than the originals in her opinion. Looked being the operated word. Honestly, their hard plastic wasn't very cuddly, as Phoebe had heard Ruby once mutter. Not that she could really compare them to the originals. He wouldn't be caught dead getting that close to the original gang. Ooh, wrong choice of words. Dead. He subconsciously reached up to run her fingers through her hair, yanking it back slightly. Toy Pie saw this, but miraculously didn't speak his mind. For once, for once, Toy Freddy, or Teddy as Hedy annoyingly called him when they were all together without prying the eyes, had noticed that Hedy pulled her hair when she was thinking about something that distressed her. She'd been doing that a lot this week. He thought about the originals. Yeah, they were softer-ish looking, but they still look so creepy. She used to have nightmares about them when she was little, after that one glimpse into the back room at the old place. After she heard those stories, and they were huge. It was ridiculous. The shortest of them was that fox, yet he was still about 7.5 feet. The tallest was Bonnie at about 8, not counting the ears. And his teeth. How Huey could stand next to them was beyond Huey's understanding. Ruby was tiny, at least in comparison. It was worse for Huey though, than sitting in her chair, she was only 4 foot. She could look the creepiest, but honestly, she seemed more timid and less threatening than the others. Freddie, she understood why Uncle Scott liked him the least, but he at least looked at her. I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. The Golden Freddy suit, which was a girl called Goldie and had ghosts for some reason, didn't seem especially threatening. He knew she was old, and only people have the most memories, experience, and wisdom. The way she talked and saw the world reminded Hebe of Puppet. But at the same time, they were completely different. She couldn't understand why they all seemed afraid and or angry with her. She was the one who was terrified out of her wits to even be in the same room as any of them, especially Foxy. I've been thinking, she started. You I smelled smoke, Toy Bonnie snickered. First of all, you can't smell. Second of all, if anyone could actually burn from thinking, it would be you, he snapped back. I was thinking, she said. I can't a mechanic for all of you. Foxy certainly needs it at least, but the most work I've done is fix Toy Chica's drawer and work on Max, he said, using her nickname for Mangle. And to check up on all the toys. I thought you hated that worn-out piece of scrap, Toy Bunny said, referring to Foxy. Oh, if Ruby heard him, she was already gunning for his head. I don't have to like someone to want to help, she said with a sniff. Maybe she told herself that enough, she would actually get the courage to ask the originals if she could work on them. They would probably say no. Whatever. Are you ever going to tell me? He asked, deciding to change the subject. About what? Toy Bunny asked. But going by his tone, he already knew what she meant. Why do you insist on killing Ruby? She's the night guard, he said in expiration. How many times did they have to explain this to her? Use her name, and all. You still haven't told me why you hate night guards, she said, and shifted again. It's not important, Toy Bunny lied insistently. Petey was about to press and yell at him again that they couldn't kill someone because of something unimportant, but at that moment they reached the door. Bonnie paused in the doorway to glare. The originals were watching their movie, but immediately paused it and turned to stare at them as they entered. Even Goldie looked up from her book. What happened? Chica asked worriedly at seeing Petey. The chicken's mother had programming kicking in and overriding her fear. The boys and Goldie's anger actually melted in confusion. He hesitated to answer, but Toy Bonnie beat her to it. The night guard broke her chair, he accused. Foxy snarled immediately, making he flinch and Toy Bonnie tense. Lass wouldn't do that, he said defensively, while Freddie nodded in agreement, eyes flickering between them and the projector screen. Bonnie just stared at a wall distantly after glancing at them. It was an accident, he assured them quickly as she hit Toy Bonnie in the back of the head. Hey, he whined. The sharp movement made him lose his balance, and he stumbled the rest of the way into the room, causing Edie to cry in fear. She wasn't afraid of heights, but she was afraid of falling. Do you need help? Freddie asked hurriedly. Both he and Chica moved to get up. Foxy and Bonnie glanced at each other uncomfortably. Their programming telling them that they should offer to help as well, but they had a dislike for the stuck-up mechanic getting in the way. I'm fine, Toy Bonnie snapped, and he steadied himself and walked quickly to a booth table where he carefully set He down in the seat. Am I still on the toaster list? He asked, slightly nervously. Not at the moment, he breathed, her heart rate finally going down. Good, he chirped, and darted out the door. Toby! He shouted after him, but he was already gone. He left her, alone, with the originals, and without her stuff. I'm going to strangle that idiot, she muttered. It wouldn't do much to him, but it might make her feel better. Toby? Goldie whispered in confusion. Ruby soon ran into Toy Bonnie again and continued making his life hell. A nice, colorful hell that featured a lot of streamers and glitter. Life was good. And that's the end of chapter 27. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you did, leave a like. Go leave a review. Do that. You don't have to have an account. You could just go leave a review. Go on. Do it. I'll wait. And if you do, you can come back when you're done and tell me about it. But I don't want to know unless you leave a review. Okay? Because they deserve the review. I just want to know for curiosity's sake. But I didn't do anything for the story except read it. Go leave a review for the author. Tell them if you like it or if you didn't. Don't be rude about it, I guess. But yeah. So tell them what you think, and also be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday. And as always, I will see you guys next Friday with a new video. Bye!